episode. For those of you watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share if you can, drop your comments down below. We've been seeing an increase in engagement recently, so we really appreciate it. So drop your comments and engage even more if you can. For those listening on Spotify, Apple, or any of the other podcasting platforms, please follow, give us a 5-star review. All of that stuff helps with the algorithms and getting our podcast in front of more people. Let's just get into the Arsenal stuff then. So we'll start with the outs because I think that's in a holding pattern. Nketiah, again, you guys are talking to Marseille to try and sell him. I believe you haven't got quite over the line yet, but the deal's not far away. I believe they're signing Youssoufa Moukoko from Dortmund on loan, which is a bit of a shock one, to be honest. So I don't know if that impacts the Nketiah one, but I'm guessing you feel the same way about Nketiah and Reiss Nelson to Leicester that I feel McTominay and Wan-Bissaka, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit frustrating with the Nketiah one, just because we need to get him out in order to get a striker in. So I know that we're trying to hold out right now. I think Marseille's bid was like 27 million euros. We're asking for like 34 or something, plus some sort of sell-on clause as well. So we're not like miles away, but I think like those extra 6, 7, whatever million euros might be necessary to get it over the line. I think at some point we've got to say, okay, this enough is enough now. It's the 6th of August. We need some time to get a striker in. So that one kind of worries me a little bit more, and the fact that we're holding out so much. I'm not really sure what that indicates. The one to Reiss Nelson obviously is kind of like it's a nice to have. If we can get that over the line and sell him to Leicester, I think that's some good money in the pocket. But I would prioritise getting Nketiah out and getting a new striker in as soon as possible. So kind of worrying a little bit, but not overly, not starting to panic yet, because we've still got a little bit of time until the end of the transfer window, obviously.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I agree as well. To be fair, your squad's in a lot better of a place and a lot better condition compared to ours. So I think our situation's a bit more drastic and feels a bit more desperate. Whereas yours is you're doing minor tweaks, aren't you? So I think it's frustrating, but it's more around the fee. I'm just surprised that you're so bullish around trying to get over 30 million euros for him, because I mean, maybe I'm wrong and Arsenal fans rate Nketiah a lot higher than I do, but I think that's about right. If you can get somewhere near there, I'd probably do the deal if it was me, but I'm sure there's some calculations going on in the background, and there's a reason why you need at least that sum for PSR or something like that, maybe. But yeah, who knows? Maybe by next week, on next week's pod, all 4 of those deals out of our club will have happened, or at least a couple of them. Who knows? But at the moment, we're definitely on a holding pattern for the rumours out with both Man U and Arsenal transfers. Let's talk about the rumours in, though. So the first one, and the main one really, off the back of our pod last week, talking about Mikel Merino and Fabian Ruiz. The Fabian Ruiz links have gone basically cold. I haven't seen anything out there in the press linking you with him anymore. And the Mikel Merino ones have got super, super hot. So I think Fabrizio have come out and said you've agreed personal terms. You're very close on a fee with Sociedad in the ballpark of 30 million, 35 million euros. I know on last week's pod you were more leaning towards Fabian Ruiz, but how do you feel now? It looks quite clear that Merino's the one you're going for.
I'm not happy about it. I don't see the play here. Again, it's one of those Artetaisms, kind of like last year with Havertz. That ended up working out all right, but yeah, I don't see the vision on this one. If it's just for squad depth, then maybe I could get it, but I just feel like there's way better options out there. And in this case, I'd even say no option is better than buying him. So, just doing nothing, keeping the team the way it is, not selling Nelson, whatever we want to do. If this is like a swap for Emil Smith-Rowe, it's a really weird one. You swap a young player, exciting from the academy, for an older Spanish guy. That's not that great. It's a weird one. Yeah, I don't know really what to say about it, but it's going to be one of the ones where I'm going to, end of the season, I'm going to look back and say, if we flop and he's part of the reason why, then I'm going to be thinking, Arteta, what have you done, mate? Because that stinks. But he does this. Again, maybe he's trying to be too much like Pep, or maybe it's just in him to do this. But he does these kind of left field buys that sometimes work out, sometimes don't. So let's hope this is one of the ones that works out and not one of the ones that doesn't.
Yeah, I mean the general consensus when I watch other content creators on the Arsenal side talk about Merino is generally positive. To be honest, I think you've probably been the most negative person I've seen, and I
It's
know you're not being
copium.
super.
Again, it's copium,
Yeah,
right? Like it's the Euros thing, right? But it's the Euros thing of a player that has almost no like real chops to be saying, "Oh, he's a good person to buy." Like before the Euros, I'd love to understand who was interested in buying him and whether they were top class teams. Um, the Calafiori one I can kind of get over because he's younger and he had a really good Euros. But we're buying a super sub who's old from a Spanish team that no one was interested in really before the Euros, and we're supposed to be fighting for the league. It just doesn't really make any sense. And Arsenal content creators that might be happy about it, it's copium, man. It's copium. We need a
yeah.
striker, not an old Spanish centre midfielder.
But I hear you. I think you're generally right, but I think it's definitely a squad building exercise. It's an expensive one, and it seems doesn't seem like there's a net gain from it. To your point earlier, like I know Smith Rowe was a lot more injury prone than I guess Merino is. I'm not sure Merino's injury record. Maybe he's also had some injuries, but um, you're selling a player for around 30 to 35 million euros with Smith Rowe, and you're buying a player for 30 to 35 million euros with Merino, and there's no obvious upgrade. And I would argue that Smith Rowe's, from what I've seen of him, which is definitely slightly more to I've seen more of Smith Rowe than Merino. I would say he's a better player. So it's an interesting one. Yeah, maybe it is a Euros hype, both your signings. But I would even argue Calafiori, I get the hype because I think he at least played a big chunk of games for Italy. He was one of their star boys. Marino, he had a moment. I don't think he even started many games at all during the Euros. He came off the bench and scored a golden goal essentially, but nothing else really. So it's a bit of a punt. Let's see. I do think selling Smith Rowe, you do need some a body in midfield, but I guess it's just not the one you wanted. And and I agree with your thought process. Like you shouldn't really be buying squad players at this position. You should be buying a player that's better than your current player, and then you shift the current one into becoming a squad player or fight for their place with the new player you've brought in. And I don't know if Marino does that. So let's see how it goes. At least the fee's not huge, because otherwise I think you'd actually absolutely be flipping your lid right now. But it's still a bit of a gamble, isn't it? So let's see how that goes. The other left field signing that's come in. I mean, there were a couple. You were kind of linked with Alvarez for a very short moment until Atletico Madrid have basically come in and I think really gone aggressively, and looks like they're going to be signing Julian Alvarez from City for like 75 million euros plus add-ons, which is a big fee. So big them up. We appreciate any team coming and weakening City. So thank you, Diego Simeone and the Wanda Group. But the other left field signing you've been linked with is Leroy Sane from Bayern. Um, so not really the central striker that you were looking for, but I'm guessing it's a bit of again looks like a squad depth move for Bukayo Saka's position. What do you make of that link?
I don't like that one either. Sane's a great player. I think he's good. Um, but why do we need a player of that caliber, of that, let's say, status in the game as a backup to Saka? Like
It's
that part
risky.
doesn't really make any sense to me. Like unless you're planning to do something with Saka, I don't understand why you'd buy someone that good and that young to try and kind of be his backup. And I don't think Sane would be very happy about playing his backup because Sane is obviously um, I'm not going to say he's got attitude problems, but I think he's relatively full of himself or confident in himself. So I don't think he's going to be happy about that. So I don't think that makes sense from a team chemistry point of view. On top of that, I don't think he's a natural born striker. So, and he's also, even if he was, he's not a clinical, in my opinion, not a clinical striker, right? He's got flashes of brilliance, really, really good kind of on the ball technically, but I don't think he's got that killer instinct really to go and smash in 35 goals a season or more. So it doesn't make sense to me again. And these are not links that I like hearing. The Merino one, don't like it. This one, don't like it. It just doesn't make sense with what we need, unless he's going to try and reinvent himself again and he's going to play two right wingers. I don't know what he's doing, but it doesn't make any sense to me now. Yeah, like that would stink, especially if you just bought Calafiori as well. So no, I don't understand what he's doing, and I'm hoping it will become more clear soon. But I'm hoping that this Sane one is just one of the rumors out there in the ether that's just come out, but is not really serious.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite. I saw quite a few reports on it early in the week, but I haven't seen anything follow up. So I don't know if it's just a Bayern kind of the Bayern agents and media guys are putting out stories to try and kind of hurry up Man United maybe with the other two moves, because I don't think they'll sell Sane, De Ligt, Mazraoui, and multiple more players this season. So I wouldn't think that deal would happen. I think it's more likely Gnabry and Coman are the ones that are on the chopping block than Sane, but maybe it's to try and accelerate those deals. I don't know. But yeah, I think it would be a bit of a weird one if it did happen. I'm more open to the Merino one if I was an Arsenal fan, but I get your sentiment. You're looking for those 2-3% gains that are going to help you in the title, and I don't know if either of those players brings them.